Welcome to Lady Problems, which is the podcast where we have powerful, honest, and vulnerable conversations about the struggles that we are all facing and how to get through them all so we can be stronger together. I am your host, Casey Jade. I am a branding and boudoir photographer who mostly works with women who want to see a positive change in the world and realize that they can't do it alone, who are ready to step into a stronger sense of self-worth and allow themselves to be seen for who they truly are. Just like our guest today, my amazing friend, Lisa Chastain, who I have known for about a year and a half now. And she was actually my guest speaker when I was holding a different group. And she walked into my life and I never let her leave. She is an amazing friend, mentor, coach, client, everything. We have an absolute blast on every single photo shoot that I do with her, and I always look forward to those. Lisa is an amazing financial coach. She's a life coach, millennial money coach, best-selling author of Girl, Get Your Shit Together. And also she has 20 years of experience. She's gone through her trials and tribulations with finances and everything, and now she wants to see all of us not struggle. So she is bringing her knowledge and love and support to the world and helping all of us get through our financial stuff so that we can all be the best versions of ourselves. Lisa, you want to say hi to everybody?
I'm on mute. I'm off mute. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Hey, Lisa, I saw that you had posted earlier today the two things that you don't miss the most were earrings and high heels.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like the two things, I thought about it after you posted that, and I think the two things that I miss the least are sitting in traffic and being late for meetings that I have to actually attend to, and bras that are not sports bras. Underwire bras. We'll go with
underwire bra.
Underwire bras.
That was, I had a really great, phenomenal response from that post. And those are those are two things that people do not miss right now. Bras, traffic, other things that others posted was the grind and the hustle, getting the kids to school in the morning. If this is you probably relate to some of these, mostly women that responded. They don't miss makeup, which is one of them. Makeup except lipstick.
Yeah, Diana. Get it, girl.
Yep. I don't miss mascara. I haven't put that on a whole lot. So yeah, girl things. It takes us a lot to get ready in the mornings. I don't miss wearing dresses at all. I actually don't miss wearing jeans at all. So I'm going to hold on to some of that, getting back into the world, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for being here, Lisa. I'm super excited. We're going to be going over a really important topic today, which I think is affecting so many of us as we really kind of just struggle together through this pandemic. And a lot of us, I think, are really stressed out. Some of us have been laid off. Some of us have lost a lot of income, if not all of it. Some of us have significant others that have. So I'm super glad that you're here to help us through this. Can you tell us about kind of some of what has been your biggest struggle going through this? Let's start with that.
Well, the first day it really hit me, I was sitting in my mastermind group, my board mastermind group, and we were talking around the table. These are all business owners who are making $1 million and up in their businesses, talking about how it's impacting them. And two are in events, and they lost virtually 100% of their revenue overnight. And we were processing how to deal with that. And then that whole week listening to all of the events being canceled across the United States. For me, in the work that I do, the first thing I thought of was, oh no, right? Like, wow, this is a lot of people who are already living paycheck to paycheck, who have lost work, people who are relying on those events, those seasonal events, to pay down debt or to keep things afloat. So they use those events to boost cash flow for their household. And I saw the train moving fast, and there was no stopping it. It was a big train wreck. And we've all thought that at some point in our lives, watching a train wreck, And then for me as a money coach, I was like, I I got right into actions. For me, actually, what's been the most challenging part of this is that my clientele, like all of my sales activity, has somewhat halted, but I am busy morning, noon, and night coaching and doing some free coaching and providing classes. And like, I've never been busier or more in such high demand. So keeping up with that challenge, and also new challenges, trying to figure out what the government stimulus care package is really going to do for people, helping people figure out what to do with their stimulus money, when it's going to come, all of these new challenges that weren't present 6 weeks ago, and trying to keep up with that and help my clients as best as possible, and then help my household figure it out too, has been a challenge for sure.
So many unknowns in this time, definitely. And it's interesting how everybody has pivoted. I mean, I'm as busy as I was before because I'm trying to figure out, that's why I started these lives. I'm trying to figure out how to help support my community when I can't do photo shoots, and really just trying to bring as much valuable content to everybody as I can during this time. But it's been so interesting to see how everybody has kind of shifted, and all of the things that have been going on. So amazing opportunity. By the way, everybody stay tuned at the end of the call, because Lisa has an amazing opportunity for you to join her world. So please do not hop off early. Please stay for that. I think that there's a lot of us who feel like we're in financial breakdown right now, or we're just kind of avoiding, right? I know that that's one of the money types, is the avoider. And I think that a lot of us, if we retake the money type quiz, will become avoiders after this, because we just don't want to look at it, because we don't feel like we're in control, right?
Right.
So how can we get from financial breakdown to feeling more like in control, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, like we're not, losing everything?
Well, the truth is, honestly, Casey, thinking about the work that I do, it's probably fair to assume that at least half of you on this call felt like you were in financial breakdown before COVID-19 happened, right? So it's a good opportunity to just be honest with yourself there, saying this isn't new. I've always been a hot mess, or I've regularly felt like I'm in meltdown or breakdown. And this just added more of that mess and messiness to the plate. And so there's a spectrum of people thinking about their money right now. And no matter where you're at financially, whether you're a super hot mess to have it all together, everybody's moving more toward the mean, I think, regressing toward the middle, because even the people that had their shit together lost income, lost a business overnight, losing employees. And so it's all very unknown. But when it comes to feeling more in control, the first thing you can do is remind yourself that you're not alone, because finances are a taboo topic anyway, where there are first conversations that I have with clients where they spill the beans, and it's a lot of emotion and shame and guilt that they've never talked to anybody about before. And so this is the perfect opportunity to be on a webinar like this today and hear you're not alone, no matter how you feel or where you're at financially, that we're all going through this in our own way. And this is probably one of, aside from the Great Depression or the last big recession, that everybody feels this uncertainty financially. So you're not alone. But then the second thing is, be honest with yourself, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you really know your money? When money's coming in and it's regularly coming in, it's easier to avoid, like you said, or hide, or be in denial about the holes in your finances. And that because money's coming in, it's easier to just keep things afloat. But what I know with my clients is, when I ask them, what do you make, what do you spend, and what do you keep every single month? There's a lot of blank faces in the audience or in my client groups, because the truth is you don't know. But if you really want to get a handle on your finances fast, that's the very first thing that you can do, is use that formula. Can I share my screen really quick, Casey?
Please. And coming from, just coming into your world as one of those people, I'm a creative, so I hate looking at my numbers. I always want somebody else to do it. I just want them to tell me, like, okay, you tell me that. But no, it was so powerful for me to figure out what I make, spend, and keep every month. And it really, really changed everything when I did that.
Absolutely. So I'll go through the formula, because some of you are visual learners.
Yay.
Yay. Is that this is the magic formula. And this is the one place that I start with all of my clients. And most of you never learned how to look at your money this way, in this such a simple way, is that you could go back and look at, I would give you this homework today, is to go back and look at February and March and answer this question. How much came in? What went out? Where did it go? And then what was left over? And if you're looking at April specifically today and you're curious and you're thinking about, gosh, how do I gain control? How do I feel like less of a hot mess? Is get a hold of these numbers. Like, honestly, it's that simple. And that might not feel so simple because, of course, like, you're a business owner, you've got your business finances, you're trying to figure out what's going on in your personal life. Sometimes it's all commingled, but just getting that bigger picture it may not be as bad as you think it is too, because it's one specific place to look at your finances as opposed to all the debt that you have or all the money that you owe or accounts payable that you have. Like, those are all very stressful things to think about, but this one thing may surprise you, and you'll realize that you have more control, especially in the spend category, than you think you do.
And you'll really be surprised about what you are spending your money on. That was where that was one of the biggest areas that I was so surprised about, because I was one of the people going from, having money to having no money. And I'm like, well, where's it going, Lisa? And you're like, I don't know. Let's see. Where's it going? And that was so powerful.
Yeah, let's take a look. And I have a sheet. It's the Kiss Money worksheet, and I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you all as a gift. Casey, I'll send it to you. We can get it out if you want it. But it's a really quick way of diagnosing that one particular number and figuring out what that one number is, because so often we just get busy in life, and right now is a great opportunity to slow down and get clear, and then make adjustments based on what you are making versus paycheck to paycheck. And as business owners, I get it. I'm a business owner. I get paid here and here and here and here and here and here, but the cumulative effect may add up to more than you think it does.
Absolutely. So what about people who aren't business owners, who got furloughed or laid off or temporarily out of work? Like, how can they get more control over their financial situation during this?
Well, I think this is a big wake-up call. If you have your video on, if you agree, this is a big wake-up call. Like, oh shoot, I really was on thin ice, potentially financially, or I really only had half a month of income saved or nothing saved. And so the first thing you've got to do, if you're in that situation and you've been furloughed or laid off or let go, or you're waiting for unemployment, there's a lot of help out there, but the truth is none of it's here yet. I have one business owner friend that's received any money so far from the government or from the banks. So what you've got to do, I realize, and so this is going to sound counterintuitive to some of you who have followed other financial experts, and I realize that, but just bear with me on this. I realize it's going to sound counterintuitive to go look at what credit card availability you have left, right? Because prior to COVID-19, if you were working on your finances and working on getting your shit together, the first thing most experts will tell you is put a plan to get out of debt together, yes? And we've had that in our heads, even me, get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt. But right now, let's just keep the ship afloat, okay? Let's just keep it from going downhill. And then other financial experts, save, 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 save. And then if you're paying attention to the stock market, people are like, this is the time to invest, right? And then it gets really overwhelming. It gets really overwhelming. And then for a lot of us, we just shut down. We say, forget it. And pardon my language, but fuck it. I'm not going to deal with it, right?
Yep.
Right now, where you want to focus specifically is go look at all of the resources that you have available to you and focus on keeping your finances flat, if nothing else, staying afloat, if nothing else. This is not the time for you to be stressing out about getting out of debt. We don't want you to get into a ton more debt if possible. But what I know, having worked on probably over 100 cash flows over the last few weeks, I've been in people's money. That's what I love to do, is get in there with people's money and really look at the specifics, is that your landlords, your mortgage company, your utilities companies, your credit card companies, your car companies, if you've been impacted in that way, Casey, they are all making and they're all making new terms and agreements, and they're all working with their people to help you get through right now. I had one business owner where she took her bills from like $2,000 a month down to barely nothing, at least for April and May. Is that going to bail you out forever? No. But like I'm telling everyone in my world, is at least it'll give you the ability to catch your breath. And I think that's the most important thing today, is if you can catch your breath and then put a new strategy together and learn how to work and look at your money right now, that's the most important work that you can be doing.
Hey, Lisa, can you go into, since we're going to have these conversations with our financial providers, with our banks, with our car companies, can you go into a little bit of the terminology? Because we really do need to clarify the difference between getting our monthly payments waived versus in a couple months, we're going to owe 3 months. So can you talk about what that looks like so we can have better conversations with these institutions?
Yeah. So the first thing is that what I know, having been in the finance industry for what feels like forever now, is that finance people speak jargon. They speak another language. And so like what you're asking is, you get on the call with them and then you feel confused and you don't know what they're saying. So that's where I come in. I'll get on the phone with you, for example, and help you navigate those conversations. And if you don't understand, speak your language and have them come to your level and explain it to you. So there's forgiveness. That's one term where some companies, student loans, for example, might be forgiving debt. Well, that means if they're forgiving it, you're not responsible for it. So there's a PPP loan out there for those of you who are business owners, and that debt can be forgiven, not guaranteed to be forgiven, but can, as long as you follow the terms and conditions. Forgiveness means they're going to wipe it clean, essentially, like it never existed if it's being forgiven, right? Forbearance means that they basically stop the payments, but they tack that on at some point in the loan. So there are mortgage companies who might be forbearing your mortgage, but in 90 days, that whole total might be due in 90 days. So even though your mortgage is, let's say, $1,200 a month, if it's in forbearance, that's $1,200 in April, $1,200 in May, and $1,200 in June, that if you're not clear with them what that means, it could all be due come June or July. So you need to be very clear. Hang on just a second, Diana. Very clear on what terms and conditions they're giving you specifically, because it's not a one-size-fits-all policy. Some mortgage companies are tacking that onto the end of your loan so that you don't owe it. Technically, you just pick up with payments again in 30, 60 days, whatever they give you, but that money goes on to the back end of the loan. So you will end up having to pay it at some point. It just isn't going to be due right away. So those are the terms that you want to look out for. Like, what are they really offering you, and how does that affect you once they lift the terms from you? Credit card companies, same thing. The credit card companies aren't going to wipe it clean. They're not going to forgive it. They're just basically pushing it down the road for you to give you that opportunity today to breathe a little bit so you can make sure you have food on the table. That's the real priority there, is let's make sure your basic needs are being met. And if that means not having to pay something right now, they're willing to do that for you, but not for long. Mm-hmm. Did that help?
Diana, did you have a question?
Well, I just had an experience yesterday that I'd like to share, if that's okay. I called one of my credit cards, and my bank, I use Bank of America, so I have a Bank of America card, and there's a note on their website and stuff like that. So I called, and if your bill is due on or before May 15th, they will let you not have to pay your April bill.
Yeah.
But come May, you still have to pay your bill, otherwise you're late and you're going to get the late fee and all that kind of stuff. So Bank of America isn't doing anything. Now, maybe I wasn't speaking the right language, but and that's totally possible. But they weren't cutting any breaks whatsoever. So as far as I saw it, for me, it was like, well, I'll just might as well pay my April bill, because eventually I'm going to have to pay it. And if I have it now, I might as well pay it now. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
If you have it now, pay it now. But but going back to the original question, if you don't have it right now,
Right.
this is one of the only times in the history of America that companies are making any concessions. And the fact that the federal government put a 60-day stop on any type of foreclosure, that's all good news, right? Everybody's trying to figure out and trying to help how they can, where they can. But at the end of the day, when it comes to our debt, especially, we're still responsible for it. We just have to figure out how they're willing to work with us to breathe. That's the word that I'm using right now. Catch your breath. And then we got to get going with a new strategy, not just to get you out of this mess, but to help you continue to learn how to grow financially and stabilize financially for the rest of your life.
On that subject, does anybody else have any questions when it comes to like the payments, loans, debt, mortgage payments, anything like that?
Yeah, I have a question. So I've been one of the few pretty fortunate. This hasn't really impacted my business at all. In fact, I recently closed a relatively large deal, and I was planning on using that money to actually get completely out of debt. Do you think that's not a good idea at this time, or based off what you said earlier, or I feel like that's always a good idea? But
yeah, so going back to that conversation about debt, this is not the time for you to try to aggressively get out of debt. And honestly, that's a strategy that a lot of people try to use when they come into money. They get a windfall, and the first thing they want to do is pay off debt. Unfortunately, especially as a business owner right now, you closed a big deal, but there's no guarantee next month money's coming. That's just the reality for a lot of business owners. So the game that and I call it a game because I think it's fun, which it might sound crazy, but if you're in my world, and Casey and Diana are, at a certain point, if you can turn the conversation around and let's play a game, it doesn't feel so devastating. But as a business owner right now, every financial expert that I have spoken with and heard from is saying, hold on to your cash, even temporarily. And if that gives you a 60-day runway, we've got to know what your runway is. There's nothing wrong with giving yourself that 30 days to hold on to your cash. So that gives you the stability that you need. And then come May 1st, if you still want to pay off some debt, let's do that. But I am a big fan of boosting cash flow. And this is for every household right now. Even as much as possible, hold on to learn how to save and hold on to money first. And then let's put a debt repayment strategy together. And that's where I work with my clients, is having a strategy to get out of debt will ultimately keep you out of debt. And I'd rather see you do that than try to just dump the money on debt. And then your cash poor again, not necessarily poor, but you don't have the cash that you would like to have to start going in the opposite direction of debt. Then I don't know your individual situation, Danny, but that would be my recommendation.
okay, I was just curious because I know if I were to put this let's just throw a number out, 15,000 into saving.
Yeah.
Is using most of it to pay off my debt. My thought process is that the interest on my debt is higher than any interest I'm going to get from saving money.
That's possible.
That was kind of my thought process. So you think it would be better to put that money like into a savings account right now, just kind of pay on the bills for a couple months and just 30 to 60 days kind of reassess the situation?
I do. I think that would be smart. I think it'd be wise given our climate. And then also with the debt, this is a great time to look at renegotiating that debt. So if you can get it down to lower interest rate right now, you can just, money is essentially like 1% right now for a lot of lenders. So if we can get that debt reorganized to a lower interest rate, if possible, start there and slow it down for a little bit. And as a business, give that cash abundance, give that an opportunity to help you feel stable. And let's put a strategy together to pay off that debt over time. If it's high interest though, I mean, yeah, well, at a certain point, it makes sense to pay it down.
So I've been hearing a lot of stuff in the news about like the different programs coming out, and I heard a lot of stuff today. I think that the PPP is kind of being like kind of shuffled back in like the timeline of what they're going to distribute. And now unemployment offices are being overwhelmed because unemployment has been now opened up to independent contractors and such. So for people who don't know what that looks like, can you go into that a little bit about like who's now going to be able to be applying for that ish, or?
Essentially, everyone can apply for unemployment if you've been impacted. That's the answer. Or you can apply. There is a program out there for you if you've been impacted. Unemployment was opened up to 1099 and gig employees. So Vegas, that's huge for us, right? There's a ton of gig employees in Vegas and a ton of 1099 contract work here in Vegas. The difficult part of that is that I also know, truthfully, a lot of people who haven't filed taxes timely. There's a lot of people who are not up to date with their taxes. And as a 1099, they're going to rely on that information, or that gig as a gig employee, they're going to rely on that information to figure out, because unemployment will go back to the year prior and figure out 4 quarters worth what you actually paid in. And as a 1099, you didn't pay in essentially, but they're still going to use that information to figure out what they can pay you, if anything. On top of that, by claiming unemployment, the government has said, we haven't seen that happen yet, we're probably weeks away, but as a part of the CARES Act, they're going to give you an additional $600 a week on top of what you qualify for unemployment. So as an independent contractor, you may not qualify based on income for unemployment, but it's possible for you to receive that $600 a week as a part of the CARES initiative. There's still a lot of details that we're waiting, that it happens so fast, but that's the way the CARES Act was written. I don't know if you've seen this graph, but let me see if I can pull it up for you really quick. It's really powerful. It's been going around on Facebook. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. Here's our live Casey. Did any of you see, let's see if it'll pull up. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Did any of you see this graph?
No.
So this is from the Department of Labor, U.S. weekly initial jobless claims for the last 100 years. So this starts up over in the 1920s, the Great Depression. Ooh. Look at us now in 2020. We have over 6 million claims for unemployment. It's astronomical in comparison to how, and I'll play it again for those of you who want to see it. That's
crazy.
Right. So let me pull that over. Let me play it again. So starting 100, this is 100 years worth of unemployment data. So you can see, Desert Storm, you can see the Great Recession, unemployment claims went way up, right? And then today, the number of unemployment claims that we've had, this was as of a week ago. So if you're wondering where your money is, the federal government, the $2 trillion was actually, so there's 128, not to go crazy with numbers, right? I'm going to stop there and we can switch the conversation, Casey, but there are 128 million households in America. So there's over 330 million people in America, 128 million households. And that's a lot. That's a good number of people who are out of work and filing claims. And the PPP loan also now is available starting April 10th for 1099 contractors. So money's out there, but like Wells Fargo is already out of money. So so it's going to be available in pockets, and you've got to stay on it. You've got to get creative. Most importantly, going back to that initial conversation, you've got to know your money in your household and your business, so you know what that money is actually going to help you with specifically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw a statistic this morning, and I don't know if it was accurate or not, but they were saying that 10% of us are unemployed. And I was like, I think that's a way higher number than 10% actually, especially based on that graph.
Well, there's employable people 18 and older, 16 and older versus 330 million. So it depends on how you come up with the math, but what we know is it's unprecedented.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions so far?
Do you have information you want to share, maybe links or something for people who would be interested in either applying for the PPP loan or gig workers who want to apply for unemployment?
Yeah. Yep.
But for other people.
Sure. Casey, are you all connected to Casey on Facebook?
Yep, I can, if you send me over that information, I can post it on the Lady Problems page so everybody can get this underneath the replay of the video.
Yes, and I have a COVID-19 webinar that I've posted live to public to YouTube, and
cool.
I'll give that to you also. It's an hour conversation about the different resources available and different websites you can go to.
Awesome. I'll post that.
My office, any bookkeeper that you know, your tax preparer. So the CPAs right now are busier than they've ever been in their lives. So if you know someone who's a CPA or your own CPA, they're going to be the best source of information because they know your taxes, not necessarily your cash flow and all the money right now, but they know your taxes, which is where you qualify for a lot of that money.
Diana, I saw that you had a question as well, love.
I do. I'm a little unclear on, like, I'm a 1099 as well as a W-2. So I already filed for my unemployment for W-2, but I'm not sure if I really qualify under the 1099 because of the kind of business that I'm in. You know, I'm self-employed, but my business didn't stop.
You have to justify that, right?
Right. So I probably don't qualify for that money, right?
No, probably not.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think would be valuable for all of these lovely people to get from breakdown to stress, a little bit less stress?
So much. But Megan had a question. Megan, did you still have a question?
Oh, sorry, Meg.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, try it again.
You're muted, bub.
You're muted. Try it again.
There you go.
There we go.
Yay.
Okay. So, I own my own business, but in the meantime, I've been earning a living doing modeling and performing here in Vegas. So everything has stopped for me. But I might not have filed my, it's in a lovely stack to my left here that I'm going to do this week. But does that affect, because I did a whole lot of more work in last year, and my January was crazy busy, but there's no way for them to know that. So I tried to fill out the unemployment for my W-2 for the one job I had that was W-2 last year, which was kind of minimal, but the 1099 work. So you said April 10th is when we can file that, or
for the PPP loan.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's the payroll protection loan. So you could, if you were going to apply for that. What you can do though with unemployment, it would be really valuable, especially because you made more in 2019 is what I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
Is get it filed as soon as possible.
Okay.
So that when you go through unemployment, when they're asking for supplemental documentation, having filed your taxes will be that supplemental information they need.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Was that all the questions you had, Casey?
That was all the questions that I had, I believed, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me just go through this information really quick. I threw together a PowerPoint presentation. First thing is, I want you to know that, of course, this isn't the last opportunity for us to connect. I've been doing webinars like a mad woman. So next week, I'm even hosting my Girl Get Your Shit Together, even though we've got guys, you can come too, masterclass.
Where I lady problems, everybody knows they're included. Everybody's included.
Lady problems are universal. They impact everyone, right? Happy wife, happy life is what I tell my husband, right? But my master class, we really talk about the specifics of you getting your shit together. And so when it comes to money, I just thought I would leave you with these thoughts, and then we can answer questions, is that never in time has there been an opportunity like this one where we haven't seen it yet, right? There's a gap and a span of time that pretty much caught us all off guard. Even though the government was like, we're going to help, it's still 3-6 weeks out before any of that help is here, right? Financially. And but we're all slowing down. We've all had an opportunity. Hopefully, even me as busy as I've been, I'm not driving. Things are quieter. I'm home. I have time and space in my day to breathe. And so setting up a routine and focusing on your abundant mindset. Every business mastermind and group, and I'm in groups with people who have made a fortune in the economic crises. Like in 2008, they created multi-million-dollar companies. So there's opportunity here for everyone. And you can be whoever you're going to be about this situation. But if you shift from victim to ownership, no matter what's happened here for you financially, whether you lost your job, you lost work. This is the time for you to recreate yourself, become valuable to other people, seeking and working outside of yourself, figuring out what skills do you have right now to support other people. Those all tap into an abundant and giving conversation. The distinction between a life in scarcity and a life in abundance is the word enough. Is there a question?
No, Adi just said amen.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, amen, right? Where in a scarcity world, in a scarcity mindset, a lot of our parents raised us this way. It's not our fault, right? Or the environment taught us to live in a space where there's not enough. But when we shift to an abundant mindset where there's enough love, there's enough food, there's enough money, there's enough talent, there's enough everything in our lives to have what we say we want, everybody's reevaluating what's important. And what we're realizing is it's not the designer handbags, it's not the high heels, it's not the makeup. What really matters to us are the people in our lives and the difference that we can make. So using this time to answer that question, this is the work that I do in my world. And Casey knows this is, as much as we talk about money, more than we talk about money, we talk about purpose, where you can get really clear and quiet and get soulful and really think about, what is my purpose on this earth? Because when you're living in your purpose, abundant life happens. But in order to have abundance, you also need to have trust of yourself, trust of the people around you. And we saw this firsthand with the toilet paper situation. People went crazy over toilet paper because they didn't trust anyone. They didn't trust that there was going to be enough for them. That's total scarcity. That's total scarcity. That's total fear. And the truth is, most of you experience this in your lives. That have you ever truly, and if you have, that's a different conversation, but have you ever truly gone without your basic needs being met? And for those of you who have come from a situation or an environment like that, it can be easy and very damaging to hold on to that fear and lack of trust rather than tapping into a trusting, loving world that does exist. I truly believe it does. When it comes to money, though, here's what I want you to know is that if you don't have trust with yourself, with your money, everything else in your life will feel distrusting. If you don't trust yourself with the decisions that you're making, if you don't have clarity over your finances, if you don't have systems in place to make decisions, if you don't have trusting conversations with others when it comes to money, and some of you have money secrets, I know you do, that's the first place to start. If you really want to create an abundant life where you feel like there's enough, you've got to create trust within yourself. Also, in this uncertain time, having a routine at all will help you feel more settled. So a routine in your sleeping patterns, a routine in your diet, some kind of routine will help you. It doesn't have to be time for time, but that's got my life coach hat on. So I just want to impress that upon you. Create a routine for yourself, create a money routine for yourself. I know every Wednesday I look at my finances, I have a money date with myself. That makes a difference, and that will help you feel more stable in this very unstable environment. And practice gratitude, finally. What are you grateful for? It's really easy for us to get into the grungies and be ungrateful and be pissed or, feel like we're a victim to everything that's going on. And Facebook is full of that. But hang around people who are grateful for what they do have. My life isn't perfect, but I sure do love it. And I love the people that are in it. And I don't have what I'm looking at, the stones. So we are redoing our bedroom and our bathroom. I don't have tile on my floor right now. It's all concrete in my bathroom. And I don't have stones on my fireplace. And I could focus on the things that I don't have and that aren't working in my life. But the more I focus on what I am grateful for and being here with you, then the rest of that just falls away. It's just not that important at the end of the day. So those are my abundance tips. I hope that helps and maybe reset some of you. I have a talk. So I'm on an app. I'm going to give you a ton of resources today. I'm on an app. It's called the Live app. And I've got a 5-day challenge. It's a Trust Yourself with Money challenge where you can follow it for 5 days and learn what it is that it takes to create a trusting relationship when it comes to money. So it's not just looking at your money. It's not just knowing what you make, spend, and keep. It's really about if you can be trusted with the little things, then you can be trusted with the big things. And that happens financially as much as anything else in your life. I know what this looks like. I know what it's like. Sorry, let me go back really quick. I know what it's like to stress about money. I've done plenty of that in my life. At 31 years old, had $100,000 in my retirement account. And by the time I was 36 years old, it was gone. It was gone. Everything was gone. My marriage was gone. I got a divorce. My savings, my retirement savings was gone. And my business was in the negative. It was in the red, $300 a month. And I was lost, and I was stuck, and I was confused, and I was tired, and I was pissed. And it took me hiring somebody who cared about me, took me learning new systems, the tools that I learned from my clients today, took me stretching outside my comfort zone. Most importantly, it took me just getting honest with myself about what was working and what wasn't working. And today's a perfect day for you to do that. Let's just be honest. What's working, what's not working, right? Gotta know you're worth it. You gotta know you're worth it. You've got to believe that you're worth more than what you have today if you're ever gonna have more, right? So doing work for your inner self-worth is a huge piece, and Casey and I talk about this all the time, right? You've got to know and work on your self-worth conversation, because if you don't feel like you're worth the job, the money, the boyfriend, the whatever it is that you want in your life, that's going to stop you every single time that you try to go get it. Focus on return on investment. Whatever money you are spending right now, stop spending money on stupid shit. If you want to make a difference in your life and really want to get stable and tap into the abundance, focus on the purchases that you can make today and the people that you can spend time with today. So being on Lady Problems with Casey, surrounding yourself by positive people, and audit the time. Like, are you spending your time wisely right now? Is the time that you're spending, like, this is the perfect way to spend your time. Be around people who are positive and can give you new ideas and you can get things flowing. Return on investment is huge for any way that you spend energy. Money is energy. Time is energy. People are energy. Get away from the soul-sucking people in your life. Be around healthy people, right? That's going to make a big difference in your ability to rebound right now. There's free classes too. Harvard is giving a free class right now on the study of happiness. Over 400 universities have classes that they're offering for free right now. Use it as an opportunity to level up. Set healthy boundaries with yourself and others, especially when it comes to money. Okay, this is hard to do if you don't have clarity over your money. You've got to know when to say no to yourself and others. This is hard for me and my husband, actually, because I'm not a spender and he is. And he makes great money and he works hard for his money. But at a certain point, I got to be like, babe, time out, pull it back, stop spending, right? If we're going to save and reach our other financial goals, we've got to have healthy conversations and healthy boundaries. And ultimately, this is a big deal. Believe. If you don't believe, where I find a list of classes being offered, I'll send it. I'll send you a little package, with all the good things, right, Casey?
Yep, all the things.
All the things. Casey, you can just write down the different questions we have.
Yep.
Then I can send all the things to you.
Got it.
Money can be simple. If you believe that it can be simple, then you can do it. Right? So investments are complicated. They can be. But if you learn how to know your money in the right way and you learn how to be around experts and people who know how to invest, you don't have to necessarily learn it, but you've got to know when it makes sense and when it's a good time for you to start investing. And I talk about that in my world in my masterclass. But let's get you the simple, basic, making sure that you feel like you've got a flow. Try not to chase a ton of opportunity right now. There are opportunities in the market. If you're sitting on a ton of cash right now and you don't know what to do with it, this could be a good time to invest it, but it's not a beginner's market. So don't try to do something on your own. Hire or ask an expert to do it with you. Cool. I have an academy. Another good way to invest in yourself. Okay, yeah, there's Casey. So that, you can go from stressing out and worrying. Everybody's good at that. I'm really good at that. I've been very good about that with money in my life. I used to lose so much sleep. Maybe this is you. I used to lose so much sleep over money, huh, Case?
Absolutely.
So much. And it doesn't have to be that way if we can shift your behaviors and we can shift your beliefs. And that's the one thing that I want to leave and impress upon you today. And then I'll pass it back to you, Casey. This is the magic formula. If you don't have the financial results that you want today, it's likely that you didn't before COVID-19 too. So, right? This is just put a shining light on everything that probably wasn't working. And I'm in there with you guys. Like, my runway for my business, cash flow wise, I was spending it faster than I could make it, because I was busy investing in some cool stuff for my business. I had to put a stop on all of that to go, whoa, can I keep up with that? Is that really honest of myself? Beliefs plus behaviors are your bank account. You have limiting beliefs or not limiting beliefs. You've got certain behaviors that you make with, that you do, things that you do with your money. Those two have to be in harmony in order for you to have the results that you want in your bank account. So working on your mindset's great, but you also need to make sure you're taking the right action, and you need that kind of person to help you learn how to do that. So that's really, really important. There's the formula again. And track your money. Track it. Learn how to track it. Be in relationship with it. Having a relationship with your money can be pretty fun. It doesn't care about you, which is kind of weird. Like, you're in this weird relationship because it doesn't talk back and it doesn't care about you. But at the end of the day, it has a big impact and effect on the course and direction of your life. So track it. Be in relationship with it. Don't be afraid of it. And that's what we do in our world, in my world, right, Case?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And from all of the questions that we were getting before, I mean, everybody can tell how personal this subject really is, and how many questions we have based on exactly what we're going through. So that's the most interesting part. And that's why me and so many of my friends work with you, so that we can go over all of our things personally. And I know that you're going to share something about that with us too.
I am. So when it comes to savings, you're going to so listen, I understand how confusing the finance industry is. And if you read one article that says one thing, you can read an article right after that that says the exact opposite, where you're like, what the, why? Don't save, pay off debt, don't pay off debt, do this, don't do that, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. It can be pretty defeating. And even for myself, being in this conversation, I was on CNBC last year. I had to do a ton of research for that, and I had to follow CNBC, and I had to read all the articles. And I'm like, that's great that someone earned $1 million by the time they were 26, but that's not most people. So, start with basics, and let's, if nothing else, focus on the right things first. So these are just some tips when it comes to saving. You're probably at this point overwhelmed, and I'm just going to stop there. But if nothing else, let's make sure, like Danny, your original question, let's make sure you've got your rainy day fund set aside. It's not necessarily $1,000. So finance experts say it's $1,000. I don't agree with that. I think it's really in relationship with your life. So think about this. If you're single and you have a small little studio apartment and your life doesn't cost a whole lot to run, do you need $1,000 in an emergency savings account? Maybe not, right? But if you're a family of 5 with 2 dogs and you've got 7 people in your household, I call it the oh shit account. Make sure you've got an oh shit account, because at any given moment, I've got 2 boys at home. There could be an oh shit moment. And I need to make sure I have enough money to cover that oh shit moment, so that I can be present. The whole reason you have an oh shit account is that when those things happen, you don't have to worry about money, at least temporarily. With an oh shit account, you can go handle it, not stress about money, and then worry about the aftermath, the hospital bills, whatever that is, after the fact. But the last thing we want to do is have you worry about paying $300 for an emergency room visit. Yeah. Let's focus on that first. Okay. That's the best place to start today, if you haven't have that aside already. Big picture, I just wanted to show you this. This is my offer. Like, yeah, I'm not going to ask you this. I don't even actually charge this to my clients, but this is the total value of it, where if you're going to spend a year with me, that, like, we work on all of this, and it takes a long time, not just to transform your relationship with money, but for you to create the results that you want to create. And I want to be here. I want to be that kind of person to support you. If you're interested, cool. If not, cool. But that's the big picture of what I do. But today I have like this really cool introduction to my world, where I can give you some really great tools today. If you're looking for that stability today and you really want that, then I want to offer this to you. I'm not even going to charge that. This is just the value of it, so you can see everything that I'm giving to you. So this is my give back as a business owner. Business owners are severely reducing the cost of their services, and they're giving, in a lot of ways, they're giving stuff out for free. So this is my private group membership, which is typically $97 a month. Come join my group. Come have this conversation with me and Casey and all the other amazing women in my life. And this group is available for men too. If you want to join the conversation, hop in. I'd love to have you. You're going to get my simple money course and all the tools that you need to get clarity on your finances now. What do you make, spend, and keep every month? What have your habits been? If you're willing to look at it, it's so eye-opening. Casey, what did you learn when you started looking at your money this way?
Well, a lot. I learned a lot. And I learned that I actually learned that I wasn't making any progress on paying my credit card bills down because of how high interest all my credit cards were. And I didn't realize that. So that was an amazing takeaway from that, on top of everything else I realized that was kind of frivolous spending, and the monthly subscriptions that I had that I just kind of like passed over constantly and didn't really pay attention to. And so many things that we just pay. It just comes out of our account.
Yeah, we just pay it mindlessly.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that I know a lot of people that I work with, when they do the tracking, they realize, especially business owners, that you have really good months and really low months, right? But no matter what you make, you'll spend according to what you're making, rather than spending the same every month. And then when you have big months or more in a month, doing something with that money, you're just spending in correlation to what you're making. And that's actually really damaging over time, because you can never feel like you're actually going to get your head above water, right? So knowing it makes a big difference. I'm going to give you these tools. This is like, you use this tool first, and then this tool first, and then this tool first. And in the money course, it baby steps you through it and how to use it. If you were to invest in this today, in yourself, essentially, and if you stick with me for a few months, I'll give you a ticket to my live event bootcamp, which is really fun, really, really fun. We work on money mindset. I'll give you a copy of my book. And today it's $47 for just 1 month. And if you don't like it, if you don't get any value out of it, I'll give you your money back. So, real low, just a low level of risk that you can take today. And in terms of return on investment, I think you'd see that $47 back pretty quick if you don't have clarity over your money. So I just wanted to give you that today. That's the link that you can go to. And I didn't want to make this a big sales conversation, but it would be rude of me not to make you an offer to give you help if you feel like you needed it right now. So that's what I wanted to do.
Well, and also one of the things that I really found out by being in your world is that unless you really are invested in it, by having some skin in the game, you're not going to take it seriously. How many of us have downloaded things for free, downloaded tools and resources, things like that, and never actually utilized them? You're like, oh, that sounds great. I'll download this. I'll be a part of this. And then we don't actually put anything into action. So by putting some skin in the game, by investing something, we feel like we need to gain something. So we'll be more invested in having the actual change. So it's really, really important. And that is an amazing offer, Lisa, to be a part of your world, because your world is so powerful and it's so supportive. And I have met so many amazing people and learned so many amazing things by being in your world. So that's a great offer, guys. Really, like, if you need some clarity, I would really, really, really urge you to take that for sure.
I'd love for you to come hang out with me for a month. Just come hang out with me, come hang out with my people, get to know us, and let us know how we can support you right now. Because the last thing I want for anyone to feel is like I felt in 2016, when I felt like my world was coming to I was on the verge of losing it all. And nightly I would wake up from a wine, this is just honest lady problem talk, right? Like, I'd wake up from a wine-induced coma, a wine-induced sleep at 2 a.m. And I'd be laying in bed, and then I'd go out back and I'd pace the concrete pad in my backyard, and I was stressed, and it was showing up all over the place, and I didn't know what to do. And I sure could have used me in 2016. So I got the best alternative, which was my coach, Robin. But, it pains me to think about people stressing about money that way. And so I have taken all that finance, and I was a financial advisor, all of that wisdom, all of that knowledge. And over the last 4 years, my team and I have said, how can we make it easier? How can we make it easier? How can we make it more simple? How can we make it more simple? And these tools really are simple. Like, even Bridget in our group, she does not love money. She does not love numbers, and she can do it. So if Bridget can do it, so can you.
Absolutely. My girl, Bridget. Oh, Melody, hold on. I have a quick question.
Okay.
What is the difference between W-2 and W-9?
Good question, Melody. So the W-9, if you are an independent contractor, if you're an independent contractor, you fill out the W-9 and you give it to the person who's paid you. No, hang on. You fill out the W-9 and you give it to the person, who's paid you.
Thank you. And then they give you the 1099. Yeah.
They give, and then at the end of the year, when it's time to file taxes in January, they send out 1099s for what it was that you paid. So it's the IRS technical form that says, hey, give that person your information so then they can claim it and give you a 1099 in January for the filing. A W-2 is what your employer gives you when they're reporting what they've paid you for that year. So you get your W-2s in January, just like independent contractors get their 1099s in January.
If we've received over $600 a year from someone, then we should receive a 1099, correct?
Technically, yes.
And 1099s, you're not necessarily paying taxes out of. W-2s, you tell them what amount of, what's the word, Lisa? How many you want to claim? What's the dependents? Right.
So the W-2, if you're a W-2 employee, taxes are coming out of your pay before you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So the W-2 at the end of the year is going to report what you paid in federal taxes, in Medicare, and Social Security, and then what your actual wages were before that and after that for your tax preparer for the government.
With the W-9, will I end up paying? Yeah, you will end up paying taxes. That's why a lot of independent contractors and business owners pay quarterly, because we're trying not to pay a ton at the end of the year because those things aren't just taken out for us. Right, Lisa? Sorry.
No, that's fine. So there's something called, and it won't get too overcomplicated, but there's something called adjusted gross income. And as a 1099, you're not paying taxes. So someone pays you $600 and you're not paying taxes on that right away. But as a 1099, depending on what it costs you to deliver that service, you have write-offs. And there are things that you can write off throughout the year that at the end of the year, your gross income may be different than your adjusted gross income because of all the items that you wrote off in your business. So you may in your business, in as an independent contractor, maybe you made $50,000, but after you write off your expenses, your adjusted gross income is $20,000. And that's typically, depending on how you're structured as a S Corp or an LLC or a sole proprietor, it's the $20,000 that you're typically taxed on. That's a very simple way of explaining it, not the whole $50,000, because you were able to write off all these expenses as a 1099.
Does that help, Melody?
She's like, why is that so confusing? Yeah, basically, you may not. So I know a good number of people who don't owe taxes at the end of the year because they have a loss. They basically spent more in their business than they made. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to owe. There's a lot of ways of looking at it, and having someone who knows taxes. Yes and no, LLL. It's my first time being a W-9. Yeah. So your employer didn't pay your taxes and you didn't front end pay your taxes. So you're going to have to work with understanding what you owe based on what you made.
So would an accountant or a CPA be somebody for her to probably talk through with that, or would that be a you conversation?
Yeah, you don't necessarily need a CPA. You don't need necessarily a CPA, but you do know somebody who you do need to work with someone who understands how to calculate your gross income, your expenses, so that we can get you to a number where you feel good about your adjusted gross income. So if you're not paying quarterly taxes, now's the time for us to do that. Yay!
Love
Good.
you, Megan.
Thanks, Megan. It's a wormhole, y'all. Like, I'm not trying to take you down the wormhole. I'm trying to keep it simple. And the simplest way we can do it is let's make sure that you understand what's coming in, what's going out. You get a handle on that, we can always go up. I have a 3-day event called Elevate for that exact same reason. I really believe that life is all about elevation financially and otherwise. So tapping into an abundant mindset, you continue to elevate. And what I've seen is in my world, as the women in my world, no matter how much money they make, is they elevate in their mindset and their ability to master their money. The things that were important to them when they met me aren't as important anymore, because they know they have total clarity on where that money's really going, and it's a lot harder to part with it, or they're more motivated to save it or pay off debt. So it's just a big conversation that today we're boiling it down to say, let's keep you stable right now. Let's focus on that. Building will come back. The time that you spend right now in reinventing yourself and focusing on growth will position you to bounce back from this even better than others.
And if we can all be here for each other, which is what these conversations are all about, then we can all make it through this together. If we support each other in any of our weak states or our least favorite things to do, then we can all be happy and healthy together. So that's why we're here. And thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on. I'm super stoked. And I will post all of that information, including the link to your offer. Is that okay to post that on the page as well?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. And yeah, we will be continuing these conversations on Lady Problems. I'll be bringing you one live a week from an expert in a field, one of my amazing friends who has some very valuable information that can help us through this crisis. And also next week, I have figured out how I can be of service to my community. Anybody who is a business owner or making content or is used to that, I'm actually going to do a live every single day next week and give you guys tips on how to make content from your home, whether it comes to lighting, photography, using your iPhone, what apps to use, things like that. So if you guys are interested in that, I will be posting information on that. I'll be on my Instagram live, so I can help guide you guys through that and help that make you guys have some fun projects. If you guys are just playing video games or bored or need something to do and want to really come out on top ahead of this, because people who take advantage of these downturns and the depressions and the economic downfalls, we will come out on top if we build during this time. So if I can help you do that, that is what I am absolutely here for, because I want to see everybody thrive and be abundant and be in gratitude. So I'm super stoked about that. You're welcome, everybody. I'm so happy that everybody was here. These conversations are so valuable, and I absolutely love my circle. So I'm so happy to share all of my amazing friends and support with you. So yes, big hearts, big hearts. Does anybody have anything else to add or any questions before we hop off and I let y'all enjoy the rest of your day? All right. Thank you guys so much. This will be posted up on there. I'll also have a link to YouTube. So it'll be in Lady Problems and also on YouTube, and I'll post all of the relevant information after Lisa sends me all the links and stuff. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys next time for Lady Problems Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.